Good morning, everyone. It's great to see everyone here today. I am looking forward to a wonderful presentation and some data dives together. And I want to welcome you on behalf of IPDAY here in the state of Florida. We are always so grateful for the opportunities to work and collaborate across our borders and being able to bridge these opportunities together for us to learn. And this is going to be a Tech Tuesday session. So we're going to be able to work on some ideas to innovate and to explore data using a common tool, which we all have access to, most of us have access to, which is Excel. And we're going to dive into some opportunities together to advance our abilities and to remember that there's a lot of access and technology that we currently have that's available to us just with a very simple tool like Excel, which has advanced so rapidly over the years. So today we are going to be diving into efficiency optimization, and we're going to look at the ability to leverage tables within Microsoft. And good afternoon to you too. Thank you so much, Dawn. And I appreciate all these opportunities for us to work together. So again, we're going to be diving into Microsoft tables, which are a little different than what we traditionally think of when it comes to Excel, but a lot of opportunities provide us abilities to automate. And that's one of the key goals, is that when we create and we develop in Excel, so many don't want to provide that same repetition, the knowledge that they're going to have to do it over and over and over again, create another graph, create another visual aid. And what is the way that we can automate this? So once you do it once, you don't have to do it again. So this is going to be a two-part, actually like a 2.5-part series. So we're going to be diving into the basics of tables today. And then we're going to look at how to automate tables and create some cool visual aids that are not difficult, not complex, but something that can be very useful when it comes to telling your story about your success and outcomes. And yes, I agree, my friends, that the manual work can sometimes be very exhausting, especially when it's repetitive. If you know that you have to report continuously on enrollment, if you have to report continuously on MSGs or average attendance hours or average age or race demographics, and you know that you're going to be doing this, and every single time you have to create it, that just adds to manual work. And we don't want to do that if we don't have to. And that's going to be the goal of what we're going to talk about today. And I'm really looking forward to it. This is a recorded session. So if at any time you need to go back and you need to look at this and rewatch it, I completely support that. And we love when people reach back out to us. I know I do when I get conversations and emails from colleagues and friends from across the state. I think this is one of the most opportune areas is for us to bridge these gaps together. And I love getting questions about the experiences that people are having after our Tech Tuesday sessions. So these are recorded, and that is something that you'll be able to see within 48 hours of this presentation today. Just as a reminder that everyone is muted at this point. It just helps reduce the echoes, but I am constantly monitoring the chat and the discussion. So I will be looking at that continuously. I see when people are chiming in, and I love to get the questions. And if I miss it, write it again. But I promise I have it right here to my left, and this is something that I enjoy doing. So I'm pretty open towards being able to respond quickly to questions. So sometimes in these tech experiences that it's important to get the question answered right when that experience is happening, right when you see something, so that way it's not delayed. So at any time, feel free to write that question, interrupt, write an emoji. But first, I just want to make sure everyone has access. I'm so excited to see the attendance today. This is fantastic. Is anyone could just go ahead and introduce themselves. I'd love to see, you, who you are, maybe where you're from in the state, going in the chat just to make sure everyone has access to it. And in that way, I can be familiar with the individuals that are here. And when I see you pop up at different conferences or different events or different webinars, I can also make that reference to you as well. So if you go ahead and introduce yourself, I would appreciate that. I'd love to see the people that we have here and to meet our colleagues. Wow, it's so great. Miami-Dade and Pinellas, I see. Our friends from Santa Fe and Gainesville, welcome, welcome, welcome. And it's so great to see you. Oh, wow, we got a lot of people. We got a lot of diversity across the state, which is fantastic. So it's so great to see everyone, and I'm watching these roll in. My name, as I said, is Mike Johnson. I'm up here in Pensacola, Florida, and I'm over in the Panhandle. And I traditionally work at Pensacola State College, and I love being involved with IPDAY because I think this is such a monumental opportunity for us to open up other opportunities for those that really need them. And oh, it's so great to see everyone. Wow, watching from Connecticut, you get the Lenore, you get the longest distance award. So I love that we have people here from Connecticut and North Carolina. Wow, that's fantastic. Gosh, it's great that we're evolving beyond our state to help our Central Carolina. Fantastic. Wonderful. I'm so glad that we have our colleagues here from the corrections facilities at Calhoun. It's great to see you and welcome you. And one of my hometown of Stuart, Florida. It's great to see some people here from Stewart, Palm Beach, and Port Charlotte. So it's great to see everyone. And I'm going to see this. Wow, we got so much diversity here. We got love people that are coming here across the state. So this is a interactive data session. Okay, we got a lot of people here from the Northeast. It's great to see you all, and I'm so glad you're able to jump in and visit with us today. It's nice to see you. This is an interactive data session, so we're going to work through this together. That's the way that I have designed this, because I love for people to work through it together. And do not fret, because oh, it's great to see someone from my next door. We got someone here from Milton, Florida. I'm in Pensacola. Milton is my next door neighbor. Brevard, great to see you. Dr. Samuel. Wow, so many great colleagues that are here. So it's great to see you. But going back again, this is an interactive data session. So we're going to be working through this data together and collaboratively. But do not worry. If at a time that you maybe have missed a step and you're apprehensive because you don't know if you can progress through the presentation, do not fret. I have replicated the outcomes in every one of these steps for you. So if maybe at some point you missed something or you weren't able to execute it quickly enough, do not worry, do not fret, because every one of these has a solutions that's provided right after the event. So so do not fret, it's always there, but there is a data set that you will have to download. So this is a data set that I've created, and this is reflective of adult education data. So we're going to talk about attendance hours, we're going to talk about racial demographics, we're going to talk about age, we're going to talk about age groupings, and it's going to play off of the Tech Tuesday session that we had several weeks ago, where we talked about creating these more calculated fields and how to work with your reports coordinators in order to develop these reports so they work well for you. Oh, great. Thank you so much, Dawn. I appreciate that. I try to be collaborative, because when we all work together and we can empower each other to be successful, we realize that we can lift a lot of those blockers. So yes, this is a super collaborative event, and it's great to see you attending again. So good afternoon to everyone. If you do not have the data file, I'm going to add Joseph, who's here from Midday, to drop a link in to the chat, and that way you can download the data file. And then you can work through this data together. But if you're a visual learner that just likes to watch, I completely get that, because I have that type of learning style too in a lot of senses. So if you just want to watch and see what I do, and you can rewatch the recording, more power to you. If you like to work through this together, you're able to do that as well. So I'm just making sure that we get the link for the data to be dropped in there. Has everyone been able to download? I did take, and this was completely my fault. You may not have seen the data up early enough, so that was corrected when a colleague reached out and just said they didn't see it. So I appreciate that. But I definitely want to make sure we all get an access to this data file for practice. Awesome, great to hear, Don. Thank you, Joseph. Joseph just posted the link in the chat for you to download, and then you should be able to open that up. And there are quite a few tables that are already developed in there, but those are different from sheets. But we're going to talk about the relation between tables and sheets today. But I'll give everyone a couple seconds to go through there as we just go through a high-level overview of what we're going to be able to do today. I went over and discussed some of the important topics about the nature of tables, and many have seen them before, but maybe they didn't know that they had seen them in the past. And so many don't know the benefit of the reason why to use them and when not to use them. So we're going to talk about that today, because tables strategically are going to be ways that you can automate data if you know you're going to get data that comes in a similar format. So in our last session, we talked about developing a table, or we talked about developing a data set that has consistent information. And I'm sure some of you might be able to reflect on reports that you receive from a reports coordinator at your organization, or an analyst at your organization, where they send out maybe an enrollment report or a course report or an attendance report, and the format is always the same. Maybe the first field, the column A, is the student ID, column B is the last name, column C is the first name, column D is the date of birth, column E is the sex of the student, the gender of the student, column F is the race of the student, something that's consistent. And that's when tables can be extremely effective, because when you have reports that are the same formats, tables can it can aggregate the data quickly. And that way you don't have to reproduce things consistently, especially calculations that sometimes can be super complex. But more importantly, when it comes to visuals, and I'm sure many of you are always working and creating visuals, whether it's for a supervisor, whether it's for a school board, whether it's for a college or an administration that is at a college, potentially it's for grant funding opportunities. There are a lot of reasons to create visuals, and sometimes you might work strategically to create something that you love, but the path of creating that is often not remembered. I know that happens to me sometimes where I look at the visual that I create, maybe a beautiful graph, maybe a dual axis graph, and we are going to talk about dual axis graphs in one of our upcoming sessions, and we're going to create those. Those are very powerful. You can see a lot of information at the same time and very colorful. And that's one thing people react very well to colors. They react very well to differences in colors. So we're going to talk about creating some of those later. But often in creating those processes, there's no way to easily replicate how you create a graph or how you create a chart or a dual axis graph and so forth. A pie chart, there's no automation there. And that's why this is going to be so beneficial, because when you create it once and you've linked it to a table, then as soon as you update your tables, that will update your chart. And that will update your graphs and update your visuals. So therefore, once you do it once and you save it, all you have to do is drop in new data and you're good to go. And that's what we're going to talk about here. And it's going to empower you to be extremely successful in this. So at any time, you can always undo these, but do not fret, because we'll talk about ways that we can look at them when they're not in tabular format and when they are in table format. So in this situation, when we create some calculated fields, we're going to do that together, but I'm going to supply you all the calculations. So I'm not going to ask you to come up with the calculations, but the calculations, a lot of them we've already created in past Tech Tuesday sessions, and this is just going to be a play to keep evolving our processes together and collaboratively. But the most important thing are when you create your visuals, when you are supporting the outcomes and you're working so hard to develop those visual aids, you don't want to have to do that over and over again, and that's why this is going to be so helpful. There was a discussion at some point about when this data can be used in other tools, and people had asked, I had some colleagues that had asked if we could do some sessions on, for example, Tableau and Power BI. And one of the reasons why I like those, and one of the reasons why I sometimes don't like those, is that those are often tools that people do not have. And even though I love using Power BI and the Tableaus of the world, not everyone has access to those. So that's why I try to keep these sessions towards solutions that people have access to. So that's something that I tend to look at. Absolutely, Don. So there are a lot of other ways, and maybe at different sessions we can dive into a smaller micro group of those that have access to tools like Power BI and Tableau, and those are dashboarding softwares. Those are automations and softwares that can automate the production of visual data. And but again, they do have extra costs that are associated with them, and not everyone has access to them. But that's one of the reasons why I use Excel and demonstrate, because so much can be done with Excel. Excellent, and thank you so much, Don. I totally agree. So let's go ahead and dive into some data. I hope you all are excited, because this session is a little bit different than our past sessions. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share our Excel with the crew and the team that is here today. And if you are able to see the Excel, if you could give me a 2 thumbs up in the chat, I would appreciate that very much. Let me know if you can see the Excel in the chat. Is anyone able to see the Excel in the chat? Awesome. Thank you, Cliff. Thank you, Rasha. Thank you. Awesome. Okay, you guys are so great. I appreciate you so much. So this right here is our Excel, and this is all made up data. So I went through and I made up the names, I made up the IDs, I made up the dates of birth, and there's nothing here that's going to relate back to some true data source. So this is all FERPA compliant. There's no FERPA involved because it's all fake, but some people have been worried about that in the past. So here you'll see that we have different sheets, and the sheets are here at the bottom, and you'll be able to see those. And I've worked through all this in stages and phases. So again, at any point, if you don't get what we did here in this first data basic visual, then I've already done it for you in data basic updated. So we're going to talk about this. And this is something that's just very simple. This right here is called a matrix. And a matrix is just a fancy word for data. A data that has vertical and horizontal rows and components. Vertical usually being the fields. So here, field, student ID, first name, fake. last name, fake, date of birth in the format of year, month, day. This is something that a lot of our student enterprises, the way that they export the data, it doesn't always look in a way that we like. We talked about that last time. And we're going to talk about how to create a table and what it means to create a table. So for any of us that are, wow, we have some really great participation. I'm so excited. We got so many people here. For those that have added in the last couple minutes, I'm going to ask Joseph that we put in the link for this data in the chat one more time. I do recognize everyone probably is going from meeting to meeting now since we have the access to technology. So sometimes those meetings run late. So if we could get that link dropped in one more time, Joseph, I would appreciate that for our new attendees. And for the new attendees, this is an Excel that is created for you. So the first thing we're going to do is that we're going to dive into this data basic sheet. So all these at the bottom, even though people often use the term tables, they're not really tables, they're called sheets. And this is a sheet. This is normally sheet 1. If you come over here and you click the plus, you'll see like sheet 15 or sheet 1, sheet 12, depending upon where you are. So those are called sheets. But right now we're going to work on the sheet called data basics. So that should have populated when you open this. Excellent. Thank you so much for confirming. And here, what we're going to do is we're going to create a table. The first thing that we realize we can do is we can do this 2 different ways. So in here, if you want to create a table, you can do it 2 different ways. In order for you to create a table, you want to make sure that your mouse and your cell is somewhere in the data. So for example, I don't want to click down here in A16 because it's not inside my data. So I want to make sure that I am clicked inside my data somewhere. There's 2 ways you can do this. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Control and T at the same time. So I'm going to hit Control and T. And notice when I did that, I get this flashing green line, this bar line that's surrounding my matrix, my data. And this is flashing around. So that right there is indicative that Excel says, okay, I think I know what your table is supposed to be. And most of the times, I'd say 99.9% of the times, Excel is correct in identifying your data for your table. And in here, it's going to give you some information, and I'm not really going to dive into this. This is just describing the area of the table. This says B4 to E10, so it starts here at B4 and goes all the way down to E10. And then there's an option that says my table has headers, and what a header is just a field name. So these are headers over there. So a header, for example, is B4. That's the student ID. This is headers. You'll see that traditionally, when we look at data, the data usually aligns so the header is on the first row, on row 1. But for right now, I just made this pretty easy and very benign example that I want to add a table. In order for me to add and create my table, I'm just going to Control T. I'll do it one more time. And I'm going to click OK, but I'm going to hold 1 second. If you've clicked OK, that's already. I'm going to show you the second way to create a table. And the second way to create a table, if you don't like doing the Control T method, maybe you're just not really good at remembering those quick keystrokes. And I know there's so many of them, depending if you use PowerPoint or Word or accounting softwares, there's a lot of keystrokes that are quick. If you forget that, you can always go to the insert key up here at the top left, and dropping below the insert value is this table field, this table icon. So when I click on that, that does the exact same thing as hitting Control T, So it's no difference at all. So now I'm just going to click OK. And one of the ways that I know, awesome. Yes, Don. Yes, Elaine. I like that version too. I always try to show a couple different versions. And yes, when you get a new keyboard, my goodness, that can throw off your day. I know that I had gotten an ergonomic keyboard, and so my hands were elevated, and in order to be more safe. And that definitely changed my day a little bit. So totally agree with you. But notice here, when I created this table, it changed the colors of the rows in the table. So not all the colors of all the cells that are in the rows, just the ones that are impacted by the data. And you'll also see here that there are these little drop downs that are articulated to the field names. And these are filters that are applied to the fields. So that happens automatically when you create a table. Is that in here we have these alternating colors that are indicative of a table, and then also you have these field filters that drop down automatically with your tables. So give me a thumbs up if you were able to at least create your table using the Control T or the insert table process. Give me a thumbs up if you in the chat if you were able to at least create that, and we feel good. Okay, that is 50% of what we're going to do today. Awesome. Yeah, Control T is so fantastic. Irene, awesome. Cliff, Shannon, strong work, you guys. Strong work, colleagues. That is fantastic. That's going to be a big part of what we do. And how will you know if you're in a table? People ask me that all the time. And notice here, when I click outside the table, I want everyone here to look next to where my Acrobat value is. When I look next to my Acrobat value, versus when I click in, now I have this table design icon that popped up. This is called your ribbon. This is called your ribbon on Excel. So when you hear the term ribbon, that's just this first area up here, this first row of selection criteria. This is the table design ribbon that populated. So notice when I click outside my table, that goes away. When I click inside, that pops up. Hey, Varnice, it's great to see you. Awesome, great to see you from Brewster Technical College. Wonderful. My goodness, we saw people popping in. So it's so great. I love when people become empowered and feel that they want to be involved in data creation and learning these techniques in order to make our areas more efficient. So it's great to see you. So now we're going to pop up to Data Basic Updated. And this is exactly what we just did in the last one. So every time you see the updated in my field outcomes specific towards my sheets, that means that I just did and replicated the work for you. So I created this here, and now we're gonna get excited. We're gonna get excited. Who here is ready to win a gift card? I love trying to incentivize ways. I teach too when I'm not doing administrative work. So I've taught lots of different spectrums of math. I've taught everything from adding, subtracting fractions all the way up to calculus and statistics and differential equations. I love all types of teaching. So does anyone here want to win a gift card? Maybe. Okay, yes. So I will go ahead and do this. This is one of my favorite things to do. So be on the lookout, because when I see these little red panels, awesome. I know if you don't like Starbucks, let me know in the chat, and if you win, and I'll send you like an Amazon or something. So awesome. I love trying to make people excited about this, and I think sometimes if I know it's there, this is like in class when I teach, I usually do like I hit the table because I know something's going to be really important. That's often something that I test upon. So the same parallel goes here. I'm hitting on the table, so that way this is something that's important. But we're going to work through this, and then you'll see something at the end that's going to relate to this gift card. So when we click on this table here, does everyone see here on the top left where I have some new options that became available? So we'll see here that I have some properties that became available. The properties are going to be right here. I have these tools that are available, and the tools are going to be right here. I have some external table data. I have some table style options and some table styles. So now for the Starbucks gift card. So these are going to be specific to the table design. In order for you to answer it, you may have seen it because I clicked on it. Who here can tell me the name of this table? And you'll find that somewhere in one of these options. Who here can tell me the name? And the first person to tell me the name of the table correctly, 100% correctly, will get the $5 Starbucks gift card. Okay, wow, my goodness. So the first correct response, Gabby Delisme. Absolutely. Wow, we got so many responses that came in. It's so great to see everyone do that. So when we look at this, the table here is actually going to be identified up here in the top left. And the table name here is table Mike. So under data basic updated, the table for this visual is table underscore Mike. So Gabby, quick keyboard research there. Strong work to you. Gabby, make sure to send me a PM with your email. And if you like your cell phone, because I'll text you the gift card. But congratulations, and thank you for being so involved, and for all of you too for being so quick. Excellent. What you're going to find out with table names is that you might create dozens of tables throughout your Excel spreadsheet, but table names are unique. You cannot have them duplicate. So I can never create a table Mike and then another table Mike. It doesn't work, even if it's on different sheets, because Excel is going to remember in the coding behind what we're going to learn later on to always look at that table Mike. And notice here, when you look at this too, the table is actually table underscore Mike. The table underscore Mike, it doesn't allow spaces. So for example, if I were to delete that and hit enter, I deleted the space. It says, hey, you can't have spaces. You have to have all characters filled. So that's why there's never spaces. Don, yes, I do have a lot of different tables in here. Table 1, 2, table 3. You'll see those all have like a table underscore something, because you can't have spaces, because this actually involves some special coding. But a lot of people get frustrated right here at the first step, because they go in class and they'll say, I want to call this table Mike best data. I don't know, you call it whatever you want. And then they get this error and they don't know what that error means. All this error means is that you can't have spaces in your table names. So always be conscientious about that, because we don't want those errors to cause you from using this. But that's the most common situational error that I've seen when I've helped people across so many different areas, even creating and using tables. You're very welcome. Strong work to all, Heather, Dawn, Gabby, Linda, all of you that responded so quickly. Strong work to you, and congratulations, Gabby. So now, as part of our continuing process, we're going to grow on our tables. We're going to go ahead and go down here to step 3, and we are going to add another row of data. And this is one of my favorite things to do, because when you are using tables, and I'm just going to elongate this. So if you elongate this, you can see that's sort of like my trick. So that way no one got a little head start, but I clicked on it. We will go ahead and add another row of data, student ID 7 for Donald Duck. So I'm just going to come down here and look what happens when I hit student ID 7. When I hit student ID 7 and I hit enter, look what automatically happens. This is why I love tables, is because now when I added that extra row, Excel automatically knew that you were adding data to your table. So what this is going to do later on is that your visuals, your charts, your informatics, your calculations will pick up on that new line of data. Wow, how awesome is that? That does not happen anywhere else. If you were to create a graph, a bar graph on this, and you don't use tables and you add new data, most people get really frustrated because they're like, gosh, why is that bar graph not updating? I just added new data to it. This is a way, absolutely, Jocelyn wants me to repeat. So Jocelyn, so some wanted me to repeat, so I'm just going to repeat. All I did, because I want to add a new row of data. So basically, imagine I got a new student enrollment. I'm just doing this manually right now, but you can also copy and paste this, and we're going to do an example of that. So I'm just clicking over here in B11, colleagues, and I'm just typing student ID 7. You can type any ID that you want, and I can either hit tab or enter. When I hit tab, I go to the right. If I hit enter, I go down. And notice you can tell that it added to the table because it changed the colors of the rows. And notice the row colors are alternating from blue, dark blue to light blue, dark blue to light blue. So here I'm just going to add Donald Duck. So the first name is going to be Donald, and the last name is going to be Duck. And his date of birth is, I didn't put a date of birth, but we'll just put one in there, 1900 0101. So that's going to be Donald Duck's number, date of birth in this year, month, day. But also here, we're going to add a new column of data. We're going to add a new column of data. So I'm going to add ESOL with a yes or no. So notice here, when I type ESOL, and I am over here in F4, I'm just typing ESOL on F4, and that's adjacent to my table. When I hit enter, Excel will automatically know that you're adding data to your row lines describing your student population that's enrolled. How awesome is this? And you can, type yes, you can type no. Hopefully you can all do it in the same nice format. Awesome. Yes, colleagues. I'm seeing great. So I'm just typing some information in here. No, and yes, assuming that you wanted to add new data. When you're in tabular format, Excel will know that you're adding new data vertically that corresponds to each row line of students. And this allows you to evolve your tables. But the nice part is that when you're using these and creating visuals and calculations, it's very powerful. So let's go on to Data Basic Updated. This is something that you would have seen. We had a student, Donald Duck. I did not put any yeses or nos in, but that's what you should have seen. So if we're not able to replicate these steps, do not fret. They are replicated for you here in Data Basic Updated _A. So hopefully we're doing well and we are enjoying this. I love doing this together. And what we're going to show you, I'm going to show you like a before and after now. So now we're in data _1. We're in data _1, and this is what we're using as our table. Yes, exactly, Audrey. So in here, this is not actually a table. This is our sheet. So I just went over here to a new sheet. Exactly, Audrey. And we are in data _1. So if you attended our last Tech Tuesday, we wrote some calculations in order to take data that's in this formats of year, month, day, and we changed it to something that we see more often that Excel knows, that we just know the common formulas for. So in here, if you highlight in this box, just like I did, and you right click and you go down to copy, you can come over here into F2 and right click, and you can hit paste. And either one of these, one makes it big, one makes it small. So I'm just copying the formula in here. And what that does is that's just going to translate this into this. So that way we know that someone with a form of 1969-02-27 is really 2/27/1969. So if I want to apply this formula, and this is not table, so we're not actually doing anything tabular yet. This is just the old way. We're going to show the old way versus the new way. If I come over here and I want to apply this to all of my students, I can come over here and in the bottom right, I'm just going to make this a little bit bigger. I'm going to hover to the bottom right and notice when my fat plus turns to a skinny plus, I'm going to left click and I'm going to drag. Oh my gosh, look how much I'm dragging. I can spend all day dragging. And notice I'm at our 999th, 998th student, and that applies that formula to every single row line. And yes, exactly, Don. Super helpful for WIOA age. Totally agree with you. Exactly. And this is going to help you advance when you're thinking of your NRS tables. Hopefully this will help you advance and emulate those processes. That's the goal over these next couple sessions, is to help you evolve, to help prep for your NRS outcomes. So exactly, my friend. But you'll see here that this automated the production of that formula for each one of those. But let's go back. I'm going to scroll down here. And I'm going to add in Daffy Duck again. So I'm just going to do 2022-23, student ID, 9999, any number you want, Daffy Duck, and I'm going to put in 1900-01-01. And we were very fortunate there that it populated. We were very fortunate there to populated. And in this situation, it knew what to do. But we're going to show what happens when you have this in a tabular format. So now we're going to go to table 1 updated, and we're going to do this exact same thing. So this updated table is going to be that information replicated. So I went through and I did that calculation. I pasted this formula into here. I did get a question via email after our last Tech Tuesday, and someone said, could you help me change this because my data is not in the exact same format as yours. Mine is in month, day, year. Of course, I'll be more than happy to. If you ever need another way of augmenting your formula, always shoot it over. Those are not difficult to do. So always feel free, as a service we provide. I don't mind ever helping with that. So now we're going to go over to table 1A, and we're going to create a table in this first. So let us assume here that we did not have this and we did not have a table, but we want to create a table first. So let's go ahead at this stage, and we're in data_1A. Data_1A, that's going to be where we are. This is going to be our new data set we're working with. I'm going to Control T, and when I hit Control T, notice it's outlining in green dashes all of my data, all the way down to row 9999. So notice Excel super smart. It says, hey, I know what data you really want to put in this table. So you are completely okay with doing that. If you don't like the Control T method, you can go to Insert, and you can go to Table, and you get the exact same outcome. But remember, you have to have your cell highlighted somewhere here. So you can't be out here, because notice if I try to insert my table here, Excel won't know where your data is. So you're just going to get something that's wrong. So here, when you insert your table, does your table have headers? Yes, it does. That's these gray lines at the top. I'm going to click OK. And notice it converted it, and it converted it to these blue repeating, alternating colors. That's an indicator that you got your table executed. Awesome. Let's just go ahead here. I'm just going to be a little creative, and I don't like this color blue. I want to put in this color blue. So notice here in my table styles, I changed my colors here, and you can change your colors at any time. And that depends on how you like your colors. That's all this is just colors, color orientations. Again, so that's just your discretion. Is these little table styles, that just is colors here. You can drop them down because you can get a lot of different types of colors, but I'm just going to default here to the current blue and white one alternating. But if you like different styles, maybe that might help you think about one for age, maybe one for ESOL, maybe a different color style for GED, ABE, and so forth. That's your choice. But all this table styles does is change the colors of the alternating lines. Again, what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to highlight the same formula. I'm going to highlight the same formula. I'm going to right click. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to paste it into 2. And notice when I paste it into here, into 2, it applied it all the way down. And that's one of the benefits of tables. It applied it all the way down, and I didn't have to drag and drop. And that's one of the great parts about this, is that it provides it all the way down. And notice, I don't know if you all see here, is that when I scroll down, look where my headers go. So A, B, C, and D, is that very helpful to me? Now, I don't really like remembering A, B, C, and D, but notice when I scroll down, look what happens to my header row in the table format. Boop, they pop up here and they replace A. A replaces with year. B replaced with student ID, C replaced with student name. How cool is that? So that way you don't ever have to look and say, oh gosh, I have to freeze my top row. Yes, friend, yes, I love it too. A lot of people, we've been so fearful of tables for so long because it's something we don't know, and that makes sense that we're often like that. But I totally love these too, especially when we get to the second session of these, because we're going to talk about automating fantastic data to make your lives super, super wonderful. They already are wonderful, but they're going to be even more wonderful when you don't have to recreate charts and graphs all the time. Awesome. I love that you're teaching your colleagues. That's fantastic. That makes me so happy. So that's the cool part about this. When you add in a formula anywhere across, it's going to apply the formula to every single row line in the table format. When I come down here and I were to add Daffy Duck again, I'm just going to come over here and just add Daffy and Duck. And notice here, I'm going to put in his date, 1900-0101, and it does the exact same thing. And you don't need all the data. You can place it anywhere. But since you did it adjacent to the bottom row, it's automatically going to add it to the table. And that's the great part, is that think about this, is you're adding to your table, your charts and your tables and your graphs will be also adding additional data too. So that's going to be super powerful. So this is just going to be the updated version of doing that. Notice here we didn't have to drag anything in this, and where it could be really tough. And some of our friends that are larger organizations, I've talked to some that have thousands of students that are in a very densely populated area. They don't want to drag and drop, and it's so easy to let your mouse go and then you screw up. And this is just a way that handles it for you. So hopefully this is helping and you're learning something so far. We're going to drop over to 1B. 1B here, I'm just diving into this a little bit easier, just so we can see it all at once. I'm just going to add Daffy Duck here as a practice. Practice makes permanent, I believe. We're just going to add a row line of Daffy Duck, DOB 1900-0101. Here, all you have to do is add what the fields is. So, but if you wanted to, you could add 2022-23. However, it's not important. But I'm going to add Daffy Duck again. Some will ask and say, what are these backslashes for? The backslashes exist because Excel knows that this is applying to empty data. So the backslashes are indicative that this is not currently there. So there's no data here. So I'm just going to put the 1900-0101, and then it will reconvert that data once that data is placed in here. So that's what that one means in the situation. So that's just another practice. It just shows you without having to scroll up and down. Awesome. We're going to do one more practice with that as well. And we're going to dive into again, so table 1B updated is just the exact same thing. So I did it for you. Moving along. Awesome. Great. New to me. New. Yes, I'm just reading the chats. Fantastic. I love that everyone's getting this. This is great. This is awesome. I love this. So now we're going to do it again, but we're going to have some more information. This is going to be a larger table that I created. When I click on here in the table, notice table design pops up. When I'm outside, it does not pop up. Inside, it does pop up. This is table 9. Notice no space 9, just table 9, all one word. And this is my 9th table, table 9. But again, I could call it whatever I want. You can call it age table. And that way, when we reference it, and we'll reference it, it'll make more sense to you to call it something that is relevant to you. So that way, when you code for the data, when you develop your charts and your graphs that you're going to use for demonstrating your effectiveness, when you use them to prepare for NRS outcomes, when you're doing a grant application, you'll have this already created for you. Now we're going to do it again, but we'll see here that we have some more data. We have some age creation that we worked on, and this is the age as of today, and this is the age as of date, and then there's some age groupings. So imagine if I had to recreate these formulae. Look at this form. This form is pretty complicated, not complicated, but it's long. This one is long. I don't want to have to create this every time, so I'm going to add Daffy Duck here. But notice when I add Daffy Duck here to this data, I get some hashtag values. Do not be upset with these. Hashtag value says, hey, I need more data before I can do this calculation. That's all this hashtag value means. So I'm going to come over here and type duck, and I'm going to put in the date of birth of 1900-0101 again, but you can put in any formula that you want. If you want to be 19, we'll do 1982-1021. That's a really good date of birth. Notice when I hit enter here, I get this that actually works, but it's not really correct. Some people might say, well, what's going on here? Why does this look so wrong? His age can't be 0. Daffy Duck can't be 0. And the reason why this is 0 is because when you come over here and you hit F2 on this cell, when you hit F2 on any cell that has a formula, you'll see where that formula, what data is being used. So see here that this is highlighting in a blue, and let me zoom in on this so we can see a little bit better. When I hit F2 here, it highlights the cell as blue because this calculated field is using this data in the calculation. When I come over here for age as of a certain date, it's using two different fields. So here, the reason why it's getting zeros because I have to put a semester start date of 1/1/2024. And that means that the age as of today is the student's 124 years old. So Daffy is coming back a little bit later in life, but that's okay. We're very proud of Daffy. But notice the nice part about this is that it automatically puts Daffy into the bins. It automatically calculates these fields. So let's say that Daffy was born 2000, 0101. This would update these fields automatically. And every time we add a new row line, it's automatically going to update that. So that is super fantastic. And it's something that is very easy for us to not have to worry about doing later on. So you can keep basically a template where you're just adding data and you're not having to recreate everything. And that's going to make life so much better for all of you brilliant data scientists that are out there. This is going to be what that data looks like when we completed it. So if you were not able to execute that in the prior table execution, that's okay, but that's going to be our data 2 updated field, and this is that sheet. So hopefully we're flowing on together, but if not, if I lost you, I'm so sorry, but hopefully we can keep working through this. We only have an hour. So I try to really condense a lot of information into that 1 hour so we can learn and we can explore and hopefully we can advance. So let's dive into this sheet data 3A. So sheet data 3A. Okay, I love this. I love this. I love this because there are going to be some great tools that you can use. I can't tell you how many times people might ask me, hey, Mike, what is the average age of our Hispanic ESOL females? Whew, you know, awesome. Thank you. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. Thank you, Adon. We're glad you find these so helpful. But I get questions all the time where, maybe you're trying to focus in on a grant or maybe a population to really target for assistance. And you might want to know what is the average or the median attendance hours of a certain group of students. I'm just going to get a sip of coffee here. Thank you. And that's why tables are going to be so fantastic. So I'm going to go ahead here and we're going to create a table. You can create a table using our Control T method. Notice it highlights this and it recognizes the fields that are going to be used. Does it have headers? Yes, it does. When I click OK, it converts it. What I want to do here is I want to dive into what these areas are. So the properties, the tools, the external table data, table style options, and table styles. Let's dive into these. Do not be fearful. These are very simple, but sometimes you need that bridge to enter into them so that way you feel safe and you understand what they do. So I'm going to click back up here in my table design. I'm going to jump around a little bit. I'm going to leave this external table data to last. And this is going to be a big focus. Notice this little refresh button here. This is going to be a big focus of our second table group session. So we're going to host another session about this that are going to advance in part 2 of maximizing efficiency of harnessing the power of Microsoft tables. This is going to be this big key one, this refresh one. You all are going to love this refresh button. It's going to change and rock your data worlds. Let us dive in. We looked at table styles. All this does is change the colors. So nothing that is too complex with changing the colors. If you like some colors over others, you can choose them. And why I use different colors is that different tables that I associate with colors, I'm a colorful, I orient things with colors. They just scream to me just like a name does. So that's some of the practice that I've used. I've used the colors to identify a certain type of data and a certain type of table, and that's consistent. Excuse me, one more coffee. Okay, great. So this is going to be our table styles. I'm going to pop over here to our table properties, and you have our table name here. There's a resize table option. This just allows you to go through, and just in case in that 0.01% of the time that Excel missed a row line, you can actually come over here and tell Excel that really you wanted this to be your data table. And you can actually tell Excel and resize it if you want to. But I've been all my times doing this and working with tables, and I work with them a lot, quite a bit, quite often. Excel usually hits the table size right on the head every time. So that's not usually an issue, but you have the ability to resize the table, and you can also rename the table, and that's under the table properties. In here, we're going to move on to our tools, Here, insert slicers. We talked about this in another session. This is just a fancy way of us inserting a way to filter in visual aids. We're going to do a little bit of this at the end. We can add some filters, some slicers. Slicers and filters are synonyms, but slicers are the terms that are used for filters in tables. You are able to remove duplicates. So if you have any potential duplicate lines, maybe you have, the same row of students and you want to unduplicate, you can remove duplicates. And you can also convert to range. And all this fancy word means, it says, get rid of the table. Convert this back to my original format. I don't want it in the table format. That's one of the questions I got a lot. How do I get rid of my table? I convert it to a table, but I don't want to be a table. I'm not at that level yet where I feel comfortable. If you convert to range, it just says, yeah, get rid of the table, and it's no longer in a table range. It leaves the colors, but you can take the colors off. But that's all that does. I just Control Z to go back. So this right here is something very simple to use. Here in your table style options, so think table style, when I style, my hair, when I style different, parts of my life, I add some color to it. That's really what it does, but a little bit of technical calculation. So here, when I click on my header row, off my header row, it either makes it appear or makes it disappear. So some people don't want to see it, some people want to see it. If I add my total row, when I do this, this adds a total in a dark blue, and it actually gives a calculation here for your last field. We'll dive into this one at the very end. Right now, this one's already checked. It's called banded rows. That means it just alternates the rows in different colors. So that way it's easier for you to see them, light blue versus dark blue, light blue versus dark blue. But again, all I'm doing is changing colors here. First column, if I do this, it highlights every data field in my first column and all my rows the same color. And notice it changes this table styles over here. If I want to do the last column, it can do the last column as well. You can also do banded columns. So I'll unclick my banded rows. So I unclick banded rows and I unclick to banded columns, and I'm banding the columns. And that just means alternate the column colors from dark to light, dark to light. And notice that changes here in my table styles as well. So all this section does here is really changes the colors. And I like the banded rows. The banded rows, they just work for me. I see them as alternating. It makes it very visual. And I enjoy working with that. But one thing I want to add in right now is I want everyone to add in this total row option, I love total rows. I love this total because this allows you to do so much, especially with calculations. So we're going to do some quick calculations in our last 10 minutes here. My goodness, I can't believe, I don't know where the time goes. I have so much fun with everyone here that, oh, we've got more people. Great. It's great that more people have joined. Sometimes I lose track of time. So we're going to dive into our two different columns here. We're going to look at the age as of today and the age as of date. The age as of today is a calculation that says, what is the age of the student as of today? And that can differ ever so slightly in situations where the age as of a certain date. So we'll see here in row 8, Sabrina Parsons has a date difference. So her age as of today, she's 21, but she had a birthday in February, and that's different than her birth date at the beginning of the semester, which we'll say was 1/1/2024. So in this situation, we want to account for that because that's something that people often get confused when it comes to those NRS outcomes. So exactly, you're exactly correct, Dawn, that the age is often different throughout the semester. We expect, especially in these months, these early months of the year, we see peaks in birth dates. So we see more birthdays January, February, March. Corresponds, I think, maybe to the colder weather. And you're welcome for that formula. So here, this formula is very powerful. You can use it as of dates. But notice here, when I added my total row, it gives this dark total row. Notice when I click anywhere in here, it prompts these little down arrows, and I love this. I'm going to add the average date for as of today. All I do is left click here, and I click average, and it goes through and it averages this for you. Wow, that's awesome. I love this. You don't have to worry about doing the calculation. If you want to see the calculation, you can see the calculation here. And the reason why this is so powerful is because if I come over here and I hit enter, I can go through and I can copy this. I can add more data rows to it. There's a lot of things that you can do that's extremely powerful to this. But let's say now I want to add a median as of date. So for this one, I want to add median. When I left click on this arrow, notice median doesn't show up here. Min shows up, the youngest person is 17. Max shows up, the oldest person is 59. Standard deviation is here, 13, so pretty decent deviation, but I don't see median. Do not fret. under the more function options, that's always something you can dive into because they don't want to list all the options for calculations. You come here, click more, and I'm going to type median and hit enter. And notice here it populates. And I say, yes, this is the median, click OK. And now it finds the median age being 30.5. So that is something that is super helpful. I love doing this because it really can advance your data quite a bit. Oh, I went ahead and did something else. So let me know with a thumbs up if you were able to do this at this stage or not. So were you able to add the age mean for as of today and the as of date? Let me know if you were or not. This is an important one. I love this one. This gives you quick data. Awesome. Seeing some good feedback. Okay, great. Thank you, Cliff. Thank you, Don. Awesome, Shakira. Oh, good. I'm glad you. Thank you, Linda, Lisa. Okay, everyone's nice, medium, and more functions. Okay, so if you do not have this more functions option, it's probably because your Excel version has not been updated. So work with your security specialist to make sure that you have a newer version of Excel. If you don't see this more functions down here, it's probably because you have not, they don't have a not updated version. So excellent question. But if you don't have any, that's okay. That's okay. So if you're not able to do that, you should be able to see this outcome here if you were not able to do it on your sheet. So let me know if we're ready. Okay, so if we do not have this here, data 3, let's go ahead here and let's get crazy. Let's get crazy. So are we all ready for the next Starbucks gift card giveaway? Yes or no, yes or no, yes or no? Yay. No one wants it. Okay, we can skip this and go on to the next page. Okay, great, Gabby. Okay, there I see some people. Yes, I like to make these more interactive. I love when people are adding to the chat and awesome. Okay, so here we are, ready, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, where's the question? Oh, here's the question. I did it a little bit different this time. So here's the question right here. Let us assume a new student enrolls named Michael Johnston, and he has a DOB of 1982, 1021. What is the new mean age, column H, and the median age, column I, of the additional population? So if we add in another row for the student Michael Johnston with a date of birth of 1982, 1021, what is the new mean age and what is the new median age? Let's see if we can do this in 30 to 60 seconds. So a little key of adding that row. And if you want to add a new row with that, you want to come over here, right click and hit tab. That'll be a little give me about adding a new manual row there if you have that total value. Other strategies you could use are taking away that total if it's causing confusion, but again, that's there. So let's say that Michael Johnston gets added with a date of birth of 1982, 1021. Let's see if we can find the new mean age and the new median age of this without us having to recalculate anything. We don't have to write any more formulas. All we have to do is type in the data or paste it. Wow, gosh, my goodness, we got such great responses. I'm seeing that is wonderful. I'm so proud of everyone. We got some really budding data scientists here. So, okay, awesome. I'll let a couple more come in just to make sure that we're all on the same page here. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I do, it's fast. I love teaching. It's one of my favorite things to do. And I'm so fortunate because even in my administrative role, they allow me, I get an opportunity to go back and teach at least one time a year. So sometimes it's stats. I really enjoyed coming in and with the GED students, and I show them really great ways to do fractions. And I always ask them a question: can you do this 1/2 plus 1/3 in your head? And everyone says, no. And then we do a quick 30-second tech tip. And next thing you know, they're doing fractions in their heads. So let's go ahead and whip this one out. I'm going to come here and I'm going to tab over and notice here it's giving me some value errors because say I need the data. So I'm going to type Michael in here. So this is not needed, but I'm going to do it anyways, Johnston. And the value here, it's mine, so I know it. So it's 1982, 1021. And notice here that I get a -82. I hope we can all see that -82. That's indicative that something's missing and it needs a semester start date as well, 2024. And notice now that it automatically populated my data, 41 years old as of today. And my age as of the beginning of the semester is 41. So this provides a new average of 34.46 with a median of 31. And how cool is that? So let's see who the first. Okay, so we got 34. Oh my gosh, we got some really great responses. So, I don't know. Where did we get 30 from? 1982. Maybe I have to put that. Did I put that in right? 1982, 21. Yeah, I don't see where 30 is. So 34.46, but you should have got this 41 here too. But there could be a rounding issue. Oh, semester begin date in. Okay, gotcha. If you got to put that semester begin date in, but we will say, let's go ahead, and we had two that came in the exact same time, Angela and Dawn. Awesome. We will go ahead and let's say, make sure to give me your information and we'll send you a gift card. I want to get to our last data table. This is one of my favorite things to do. And I love adding slicers. So notice here with this big, long data set here, we have this ability to add slicers. I love adding slicers. Slicers are just fancy terms for filters. So here, I want to add slicers, rapidly filter between age group, race, and gender. When I come over here to my table design, I click on insert slicer, and I will click on age group, race, and gender. You can click on any of them. These fields here correspond to the headers up here. And when I add them in there, thank you so much. Awesome. When we put this in here, we'll click OK. Notice how cool does this look? When you send this to people, when I send data that has slicers in it, they just think I'm this, they think I don't know what people think, but I think it impresses people. So notice here, this allows you to rapidly filter in your data. I love slicers. So if I was looking for all of my female Asians between the age of 16 and 18, I realized I only have one. Let you not have to tell. Exactly, Don. You don't have to. I love working with slicers. If I wanted to find all my females that were Black, African American, Hispanic, that are 55 to 59, I'm able to go through and rapidly filter. And that way, so many times when you use these filters here, people don't know what they filter when they look through, especially if there's a lot of data. You're like, what did I just filter? What did I just hit the drop down? This is a great way to rapidly filter and then work through your populations. One of the other reasons why I like this so much is because when you add slicers in conjunctions, yes, awesome, Gabby. They'll love it. You'll be blown away by it. Most people don't know about this best kept secret. If you add these to your table design and click your total rows, notice this 1998 pops up. But here's one of the coolest parts. Let's say that I want to filter for, I'm going to drag this out so we can actually see this. I want to look for my males. I'm just picking males. Notice here, Native Hawaiian or other, it's shaded out. That's because Excel knows that there are none, so it sort of shades it out for you to give you knowledge that there are no males that are Native Hawaiian or other. Hispanic that are 55 to 59. And notice this number down here shows 7. So it actually counts that for you. And if I were to put in here my average, it would actually calculate the average of that population. So notice here, it will recalculate my group for 45 to 54. So this is a very quick way that you can dive in and what is the average age? What is the median age? What is the standard deviation? What is the max min? Who's the oldest? Who's the youngest? All that's very powerful. So in our last 1 minute, I have one question for it, everyone. What is the average age of all students? What's the average age of our Hispanic females ages 19 through 24? Our last gift card, and then we will wrap up. And we have just 1 minute. Average age, data for updated. Awesome, Linda, fantastic. So we have our Hispanic females ages 29, I think 19 through, what was it? Oh, oops, there it is. Awesome, Linda got it. So I do want to be conscientious of our time, 19 through 24, Hispanic females, awesome. So that is going to be our average age here. So our average age is 21. Oh, no, it's not 35. Average age is 21. That's going to be the count. So hopefully we saw that, but a great experience. I want to shift us back over, recognizing that we are coming close to a time. We're going to ask that we put the feedback survey in our awesome. We're going to put our feedback survey in the chat there. So if you completed it, I appreciate that so much. We're right under a minute. I will work on those emails of getting them to everyone that got their gift card today. And I appreciate everyone's attendance. It was a great pleasure working with you. Just letting you know, we have an upcoming session tomorrow, Navigating the New Horizon Interactive Overview of CASAS Updating. That's going to be tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Definitely register for that. A lot of great updates and opportunities coming up. And we do have a part 2 of this as well. Yes, CASAS, love it, love it. It was so great to see everyone, and I hope you had a great time. Thank you so much for all that you do. The second part of this, Angela, I have my screen saved. I don't remember the second part. I think it's in 3 weeks or 2 weeks, but I will get that, and I will make sure that we get that for you, Angela. Oh, thank you, Linda. Thank you. Thank you all so much. Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you, Jean. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Cheryl. Thank you, Dawn. I appreciate you so much. Okay, let's see some people popping in. Okay, wonderful, Varnisa. Great, Angela. Wonderful, Audrey. Lenore, this will be posted on the IPDay website, and the recording will be posted within 48 hours on the IPDay website. You're very welcome. Awesome. Great to see you, Jean. Lenore, great, great. Tiffany, wonderful. To all of our friends across the country, great to see you too.